ladies and gents, PepperBelly here, and I'm going to be talking about some Rainbow Six Siege today. And I gotta tell you guys that, honestly, this game is one hell of a disappointment. I know, it sucks. You don't want to hear that. You want to hear, oh yeah, Rainbow Six Siege is going to be the best tactical shooter to be released in many, many years. But all I can really say is thank God for indie developers in games like Ground Branch, Squad, and Interstellar Marines that are staying true to the roots of what tactical shooters are. Because I can tell you right now, this game fucking isn't that. And it infuriates me because what I saw at the E3 trailer, obviously it was staged, but what we've seen in that trailer was slow, tactical, methodical gameplay. And unfortunately, the game, as you can clearly see, isn't that at all. It's fast-paced, and it feels a hell of a lot more like Call of Duty than it does an actual Rainbow Six title or a tactical shooter, and that's a huge shit. Like, I mean, this is a stretch, but to say that Rainbow Six Vegas feels better than this game, that's sad, especially how they were saying that they're going to go back to the roots of Rainbow Six. Apparently not, because I can tell you right now, Vegas feels better than this game. And before you guys start saying and screaming, it's an alpha, things will change, you know, that it's still being fleshed out. Well, here's the truth. We all know what happens to AAA titles and games developed by Ubisoft. There's alphas, there's betas, and people try to voice their opinions and concerns, but really, all it turns out to be alphas and betas for AAA companies, most of the time, not always, but most of the time, just turns out to be a PR stunt. That's it. Alright, like, people just praise the game and show it off, and that's it. And that's pretty much what happened. A lot of streamers, for example, all these Twitch streamers, and a lot of popular YouTubers were getting keys. They were the first ones to get keys. Why is that? Because they want people to see the game. It pretty much turned into a PR stunt. It wasn't really like, let's test it, see if the game's shit or not, and then voice our opinions and concerns. Now, some YouTubers like Jack Frags have actually mentioned things that I endorse fully. The fact that he wants a more true to traditional tactical shooter, not this fast-paced, ridiculous game with heartbeat sensors. Like, come off it, alright? This game is a travesty in its current state, and it needs to be fixed. So, I'm going to pretty much say, I'm actually going to mention the things that aren't even included going towards the E3 trailer. Some of the stuff they showed in that E3 trailer that got everyone all hyped up that isn't in the game. So let's start. When you die and you turn into a sniper, that's not in the game anymore. Now you just spectate. You know, oh, I'm killed? Cool. Now I'm going to spectate my friendlies. Whatever happened to what they showed, being able to get killed and you turn into a sniper that's actually observing the house in a position pretty much like what SWAT 4 offered, where you actually had snipers pinpointed in certain positions so they can cover certain windows or certain venues or whatever. Well, no longer exists. What else? How about the ability for terrorists to move the hostage? That was a big one. We all saw in the E3 trailer how it became a huge ordeal that the hostage, he was using it as a human shield and was pulling the hostage out and moving him. That is no longer a thing in this game. It is gone. You cannot move the hostage as a terrorist anymore. So, like, little things like that are just completely absent now, that just detract from the overall gameplay. And it sucks because what we saw was amazing. And if the game actually played like that, of course, as I said earlier, it's staged, but I'm talking about the overall fluidity, the way you move. It would have been a hell of a lot better. Another complaint, which I haven't even seen anyone actually voice their opinions on, so it's probably just me, but I feel like it was the very first thing I noticed right away when I started the game. The mouse controls. It feels like there's this strange mouse acceleration that makes aiming inconsistent and just a chore. It makes it like, and I'm not talking, you know, a chore is like, oh, you lack skill. I'm talking like, if I move too quickly, it's inconsistent. Like, it feels like it lags behind, or it's weird. It's really, really weird like that, and it's not fluid at all, and it drives me nuts. Because I know that I'd be so much more effective at this game at shooting people if it actually was responsive enough to feel like most shooters out there. You know, like Battlefield 4 has responsive shooting. Battlefield 3 even more so. Battlefield Hardline surprisingly had responsive shooting. Indie developers that created games like Interstellar Marines, that game has literally some of the best, most smooth shooting and camera movements I have ever seen in a game. It's phenomenal. And then you come to Rainbow Six Siege Alpha, and it's like, no, it feels like the same mess that happened with Far Cry 3's release and Far Cry 4's release and all their games that come out with terrible mouse controls and inconsistency problems. This game has it. I haven't seen anyone else complain about it because it's not as bad. It's still manageable, but you can feel it, and it bugs me because I'm a guy that's really prone to noticing issues with mouse consistency because I'm all about precision and being super fluid when I'm playing games. And that's why I went out and bought myself a Logitech G502 Proteus Core gaming mouse, one of the best sensors, if not the best sensor on the market now. And, you know, I get mouse pads, I scan them. You know, I'm very adamant about having solid mouse controls. And when I play a game like this where it feels a little off and finicky, then yeah, naturally it's like, no, I don't like this, and I don't jive with it, and I want it to be fixed. So hopefully that's something that can be remedied by the time the game is released. Hopefully by beta they can fix that, because that's an important feature for me that needs to be addressed, or important issue specifically. So aside from that, what else about the game makes it not a tactical shooter? Alright, how about the fact that strafing becomes a huge component when you're playing in this game. Strafe shooting. It's every single shootout virtually turns into a strafe war, and the fact that strafing is so fucking fast for no reason. Like, I'm aiming down my sights, and I'm strafing ridiculously quickly. It's like, why am I able to do that? I'm strafing at an unrealistic speed. Nobody can strafe that fast in real life. I can assure you, alright? From my military experience working in CQB environments, I can tell you, you cannot strafe that fast. And that's why I always think to myself, why don't developers go and pick up a fucking prop rifle or something, put a laser on it so they can see where they're pointing, hold it in their shoulder, and walk around a little bit. That's all you need to do to really realize, holy shit, this is what it feels like to move with a weapon in my shoulder. Look at the way the laser moves on the wall as you're walking towards it. Pretend you're aiming at a target, start walking towards it, run towards it like most games show you do, and watch how that laser moves around a lot. Alright, like that's why the whole slow is smooth, smooth is fast, fast is lethal. I always talk about that. Moving slow is the most efficient way to retain your accuracy, have strong, prominent momentum, and just going in the rooms and killing shit. That is your job, and this game does it in a way that it feels like I'm playing Call of Duty, and it's infuriating because I had high hopes for this game, because when they showed the E3 trailer, it looked like they were going back to the roots of traditional Rainbow Six titles, being a hardcore, realistic tactical shooter, and it's far from that right now. And quite frankly, I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed of all these false advertising in games, showing off what the game is going to be, and then it turns out it's not that at all. And it becomes a huge disappointment. And the problem I have with Ubisoft right now is like, I want to know whose idea it was to do this, and the fact that they even said themselves that a lot of the features, like hit markers, the silhouettes you're seeing right now, the white silhouettes through the walls, like, I can see my teammates through the walls with white. Why the fuck is that in a tactical shooter? I don't need to see where they are. That's what the point of communication is. You come up with a plan, you strategize, you communicate, and you fucking conduct the operation. You don't just suddenly, oh, I can see where people are through the walls. What the fuck is that? That is complete bullshit. That is a feature that needs to get out of this game. That also includes the heartbeat sensor. Why is there a heartbeat sensor in this game? I mean, in real life, it would be a valuable asset if you're thinking, but I mean, it doesn't work and operate as efficiently as it shows in this game. In a game like this, I would rather be using snake cams under doorways, which, speaking of which, there's no fucking doors. GG. Like, where the hell are the doors? A tactical shooter without a fucking door to breach? Like, why? I can't snake cam the door? I can't, like, set up, open the door a little bit, throw a flashbang in, let it blast, and then kick in the door and go and clean it, or clear the room? Why is that not possible? All doors are empty, you just fucking set up barricades and barbed wire and whatever, and that's all you do, and it sucks, alright? Like, the game, okay, before I go way overboard with this, let me tell you that the game is fun, okay? Because I have had some enjoyment here and there when I was playing. You know, like, rappelling feels fucking phenomenal. Like, when you're rappelling in from the roof, where you're rappelling up the windows and you're leaning upside down, inverted, and you're shooting through the windows and you flip up and you breach the window. Like, that feels great. All right, it's fun and satisfying, but everything else just crashes around it. It makes it feel so subpar. And it's a damn shame. And I even went back and played some Raven Shield and Athena Sword recently just to kind of jive with the old school Rainbow Six titles, and I can tell you those games feel vastly superior to this right now. Just copy those exact movements and shooting, and everything would be fantastic. And on top of that, why is there fucking sprinting in this game? Like, what is the point? I don't see operators sprinting around inside buildings. I sure as fuck didn't when I was conducting CQB operations. Well, why would you sprint? Alright, like, there's no need. You literally walk from place to place. It's a slow pace. It's methodical. You're planning and orienting yourself to be super efficient at popping rounds at a target that may pop out of nowhere. You're not sprinting into a fucking room. And the fact that I was watching live streams before I got the Alpha invitation, which I only got today, but when I was watching live streams, seeing someone sprint into a room, like sprinting with the obnoxious sway animation of, like, you know, whipping your arms back and forth because, you know, somehow when you sprint, that's how chaotic it is. Especially when you're moving that slow, like, whatever, animations, I don't even fucking know, but sprinting into a room, finding a target and just shooting them, or drop-shotting people. Like, what is it? It literally screams Call of Duty on every level, and it's just a damn shame, and it infuriates me. If you haven't noticed already, I'm kind of mad, you know, I'm voicing my opinion as brutally and honestly as I can. I'm trying to assess the game for things that are just obnoxious and shouldn't be in the game. So, fast-paced gameplay, pretty much no recoil on any of the guns. In fact, the 417 DMR, which is pretty much the M417, it's a semi-automatic rifle in this game. Because, you know, fuck having fire selector switches, right? Fuck having realism in that aspect. Let's just have guns that have certain traits, like Call of Duty, right? Whatever fucking happened to being able to choose semi-automatic, burst fire, or semi, depending on the weapon I have and the variant and whatever. No, it's just pre-configured, this is what it does. So the 417 DMR in this game, semi-automatic, has outrageous recoil. You're shooting it, it's like, this thing bobs up and down, you can't put 2 shots consecutively on target. Alright, you'll fire 2 rounds rapidly, like a double tap, and the first round will maybe hit the target, and the other one will just fucking be up hitting the ceiling, because the recoil, it climbs like so much. But then you get fully automatic rifles, like the FAMAS and the, what is it, like it's like an M4, but it's not an M4. I don't remember the name specifically. It's like an R or something, whatever. I don't remember. That they can fire fully automatic and have barely any recoil. Oh, that's cool. You know, hooray for realism, right? Hooray for having ridiculously long kill times, hit markers, and spraying through walls, getting a hit marker, and then suddenly being like, oh yeah, there's a guy behind that wall, and just keep pumping lead through the wall, and then, oh, he's dead. Awesome. So, again, fast-paced gameplay, insane strafing, which shouldn't even be a thing, leaning only when you're aiming down your iron sights. Excuse me, what? I can only lean when I'm aiming down my iron sights? What? Why is it... Whatever happened to being able to lean around a corner and just point shoot? That's the other problem I have with this game. Like, I've talked about this, and you guys who follow me on my channel are very aware of my judgmental attitude towards cone of fire and spray patterns when you're firing from the hip. Quotation marks. The hip. When you're actually shooting from the shoulder. Okay? Games that do it right, Interstellar Marines, Arma 3. And eventually Ground Branch, and eventually Squad, and Insurgency, alright? Those games do it right, where it's like, if I'm aiming from my shoulder and I'm point shooting, well, guess what? Where my barrel is pointed is where that round's gonna go. It doesn't suddenly just skew off and deviate off target because, oh hey, I'm moving and my crosshair spread indicates that I'm gonna be less accurate. That's what this game literally fucking turned into. It's like, now that I'm moving fast, the spray pattern, the cone of fire, is insane. It's like, it's fucking everywhere. Point shooting isn't a viable thing in this game. They force you to aim down your sights to shoot off rounds. That shouldn't be a thing. Okay? Because I can tell you, in close quarters, and I've said this a million times, in close quarters, point shooting is the most viable technique used to take down and neutralize targets. Why? Because aiming down your sights obscures your vision. Your peripheral vision's negated a bit, alright? You can't see that much around you. Plus, if you have a magnified sight, why in the fuck would you know what I mean? Like, you're point shooting, and point shooting is incredibly accurate. It's very simple, all right? If you play paintball, congratulations, that's point shooting. Every time you fire off a round, you're point shooting, because you're not aiming down your sights. There are no sights on paintball guns, unless, of course, you're using, like, field paintball guns that are, what you see, like, when you're playing in the bush or whatever. They try to simulate being a real rifle. But when you're playing speedball and you got the hopper on top and whatever, you don't aim down it, you point shoot. That's what point shooting is. You just point the weapon and you pull the trigger. It's instinctive. And people could point shoot up to 25 meters away. I've explained this before. You can actually reliably hit a target point shooting at 50 meters if you're really skilled and you've been practicing for a long time. The most viable ranges is up to 25 meters. You're in a house. That means shooting a guy across the room, you're gonna hit him, alright? Like, why am I shooting and then my rounds are like fucking just obscured and shooting all around him, missing completely, being unreliable? You know, like, it's just, I don't know. Things like that. Why, in a tactical shooter, why there's the Call of Duty style crosshair spray and inaccuracy when you're not aiming down sights. Why? I don't know. The game seems like it's really trying hard to replicate being Call of Duty and, like, Battlefield Hardline. It doesn't feel like it's trying to be a tactical shooter at all, like they showcased during E3. And it's insanely disappointing. I don't see why. I really don't see why they don't go back to the roots of, like, they were said they were going to do. Because there's a huge niche market out there. It's kind of like an oxymoron saying it's niche, because there's a lot of people out there, alright? Myself included, that thrive and love realistic, hardcore, tactical shooters. Realism. Authenticity. Major components that make a tactical shooter prevail over arcade shooters, that make it slowed down, more methodical, and thought out, an actual thinking man shooter versus just going around sprinting everywhere and gunning shit down. Like, those people are the fans of traditional Rainbow Six. So why? Please explain to me why you're not catering to them. Like, Ubisoft Montreal is literally an hour away from me. And I've driven by it many, many times. And I keep thinking to myself how much I would love to just drive up there, go to them, find the lead developer of this title, and just slap them in the fucking face and tell them, what are you doing to this game? Because there is no reason for this. You don't showcase a game being super slow-paced, ultra-tactical, and then just completely throw it all out the window when you go into alpha, showing that it's literally just aim down sight, strafe back and forth, spray like a motherfucker, and get kills. That's what it turned into. Alright? And don't even get me started on the fact that, even though it's alpha, so of course bugs, but none of the grenades work. Alright? You're throwing like frag grenades and flashbangs, and they're so fucking ineffective. If I want to, especially when I've saw it on live streams, throwing a frag grenade into a room, and it just bounces back at them and kills them both. It bounced off of literally nothing. An invisible wall. Bounces off. It's pathetic. I don't see why Ubisoft is so afraid of just attempting to make the game that everybody wanted. The game that they showed, the game that everybody was ecstatic about. They saw the hype that was generated from the E3 trailer, so why would you change it? If you know you're going to make a lot of sales with the game, showing what the game was going to be, a true tactical shooter, why would you revert it all of a sudden? And turn it into this? It just, it doesn't make any sense to me, alright? And that's why I'm thrilled for games like Ground Branch. And, you know, I talked with developers there, and there's going to be a preview coming out soon. I'm going to cover that. They're going to have a preview demo build that's going to be free for everybody. That's going to be available for people to check out and try. And then they're going to come out with Steam Early Access, because they already are, they've never had to go through the greenlight process. They were already confirmed to be able to sell their game on Steam. So Ground Branch, guys, look for that. Squad, alright? Squad is made by the guys who made Project Reality and Battlefield 2. It looks incredible, alright? That game looks amazing. It's on Steam Greenlight right now. I encourage you to go and thumbs it up, alright? Improve it. Try to get it greenlit so it can appear on Steam. And I'm pretty sure it will, because there's already thousands of people in the comments trying to promote that game and get it put on Steam. Me being one of them. And then, of course, Interstellar Marines is already on early access on Steam. It's going through development right now. It has far less than what this game has, obviously. You don't have repelling, you don't have flashbangs, you don't have any, it's just literally rifles and that's it. It's pure gunplay, so the only tactics in that game right now is movement and positioning. But even that right now is better than what Rainbow Six Siege is giving me. This game just, it feels like a Call of Duty ripoff through and through. And as I was saying many times throughout this video, that is fucking disappointing. It's an absolute shame to see a title turn into this, and it's a fucking shame when games like Rainbow Six Vegas appear better than this. Because in that game, point shooting was a viable thing. Sure, there was spread, and you saw it when you moved around a lot, but being able to move slowly was actually a thing. There was 3 movement speeds. In Vegas 2, there was 3. You're able to walk, you're able to kind of urban tactical pace. Kind of like what you see in, think of Arma 3, where you can walk slowly, or you can have that tactical pace walk, and then you can sprint. Had 3 movement speeds. Vegas 1 only had 2, so a slow walk and a faster walk. Which is pretty much what this game needs. Because sprinting has no place CQB operations like this. You do not sprint, alright? It's stupid. Like, you don't. And in fact, they don't even have a slow movement speed. The speeds just feel fast altogether, and people are obviously, some people are pointing at like Rogue Spear and older games being like, yeah, well, look how fast-paced the game is there. Well, yes, but the tactics that applied during those times don't apply here, alright? It wasn't a strafe fest back then. When you were playing Rogue Spear or whatever, and you were engaging targets, usually you would lean out from, you would actually lean. You would use the leaning function. That was the point. Like, tactical shooters leaning, it's kind of a given, right? You have to be able to pop out from cover, shoot off a few rounds, and that's what Rogue Spear was all about. Being able to get in that position rapidly and quickly, popping out and getting off some accurate rounds. Versus just, I'm strafing in and out of cover, whatever, like, it's retarded. Especially being able to lean only when you're aiming down your irons, like I said earlier. It's annoying. And games like Insurgency and Interstellar Marines does this so much better, alright? Like, being able to move, the movement feels more fluid, it feels a lot more tactical and realistic, it's a lot slower. Even Graw, for fuck's sakes, alright? Like, Graw on PC has the same movement mechanics of this, walking and sprinting. The difference is, in this game, sprinting is slow, and walking is fast, versus sprinting being fast and walking being slow. Why is that? It doesn't make any sense. Like, even, like, you can see me here, when I'm trying to peek through the hole that I made in the wall, and I'm strafing back and forth, it's uncontrollably fast. Like, I'm trying to make small adjustments, but it's like, nope, I'm gonna fucking move a whole foot over. It's like, oh god, it's just, it drives me nuts, alright? Strafing needs to be reduced. It needs to be reduced, alright? Seriously, Ubisoft, anyone, pick up a fucking rifle and strafe back and forth, and let's see how fast you can do it, alright? Like, do it, and shoot. I want to see you fucking firing rounds off while strafing. You can't. Not back and forth. You either walk in one direction, or you're squeezing controlled rounds off, or you're stationary. You're never fucking zigzagging back and forth. I encourage you to try, because your fucking barrel and muzzle will be pointing and swaying all over the place. You're not gonna hit shit. Yeah, in this game, there's literally no penalties to moving fast. Or sprinting. It's like, there's no fatigue elements at all. There's no weapon sway, there's no nothing. It's like, the weapon is perfectly straight. Everything just works perfectly. It's like, again, literally Call of Duty. It's such an annoying thing to see in gaming industries now, where developers can literally perform a bait and switch. Because this was kind of a bait and switch tactic, alright? Like, they showed us one thing, and then the game comes out, and it's completely fucking different. Like, it doesn't play anything like what they showed. And they got rid of many, many features that were shown in the E3 trailer. It's like, I don't even know. It's a damn shame. Those are huge rants, guys. I know it's a massive rant, but it needed to be said, alright? There's a lot of people out there that are encouraging and promoting this game in its current state. It's like, I'm one of the guys who, you know, no. Absolutely not, alright? 4 years in the military. I know it's kind of like a douchey thing to say. I know I'm not trying to say that I'm better than anybody. I'm definitely not trying to say that, but you know, one of the things I absolutely loved in my military career was conducting CQB operations, all right? Breaching houses, finding VIPs, which we've done a few exercises on that, and taking out targets in close quarters. Like, that's the thing I absolutely love doing. Kicking indoors, throwing flashbangs, all that shit. That's what I fucking thrived on in my military career, all right? That's what I loved to do. And it's what I love to do in games. SWAT 4 is amazing, all right? Like, I absolutely loved SWAT 4. That game is incredible. If it wasn't for, like, this minor mouse acceleration, it would be literally the perfect tactical shooter. And even though the accuracy was, like, insane when you were moving in that game, anyway. My point is, I'm a guy who loves and endorses realism and authenticity in a significant way. And when a game doesn't give me that, when they say they're going to, that's when I get, like, they just cross the line and I get fucking pissed. And it's uncalled for. And it makes me mad to see that developers can get away with this. And the fact that there are a lot of YouTubers out there and a lot of streamers who are encouraging it. There are some, like I said, like Jack Frack, even Level Cap Gaming came across and said that, you know, some things are just ridiculous, like the strafing battles. I completely concur, like, they're retarded. But it's just the fact that some people, you know, like, it's not realistic. All I'm trying to say, the game is not realistic. It feels like an arcade shooter. It's like literally Call of Duty meets Counter-Strike. That's it. Meets Battlefield Hardline. You know, oh yeah, let's throw in cops and robbers. Like, it needs to be addressed. It needs to be changed. And the thing that I am concerned about is it most likely won't be. It's a damn shame to admit that, but it's fucking true. See that right there? Strafing back and forth while leaning around the corner and shooting. Why is that a viable tactic? It shouldn't be like that at all. It should be getting in position, taking up a solid firing position, leaning out from cover, firing off semi-automatic, controlled rounds, and dropping a fucking target. That's what it should feel like. Time to kills, way too long also. And then, of course, this ridiculously failed attempt at trying to, like, bail this. I've seen people do it before and they succeeded, so I figured, hey, maybe I can do it too. But no, I failed miserably. Anyway, that's the end of the rant, guys. I may make some more follow-up videos when I gather more gameplay for this game and talk about some more things in depth without being an enrage-induced rant like this was, but I needed to get this off my chest. My name is PepperBelly. Thank you guys for joining me today, and I'll see you guys on the next one.